It's time for another HYLN video, and this is from a LinkedIn job. And this video is just revolving around this single bullet point. And again, I don't work there. I own shares in the company. And keep in mind, it's a highly speculative investment. And I would advise against buying a lot of shares in the hopes that you'll get rich. At the time of this recording, it's April 16th, 2023, and the share price is $1.50 to $1.60 per share. And quite potentially, you could be watching this video now, and you'll be like, it's under $1. Yeah, I mean, it's a very real possibility, and if you want to back up the truck now, and if it goes down below $1, you've lost a third of your money fast. And keep in mind, once it gets below $1, more people are going to get scared, and they may sell their shares, which is going to push the share price down lower. Am I scared if it goes down under $1? Nah, I'll just keep holding the shares. But this bullet point, submitting problem reports and non-conformance reports and manage their resolution and managing audits as necessary. As a shareholder, I really like reading this because it indicates that they want to put on their big boy pants and play with the big boys. The non-conformance reports revolve around auditing, and auditing revolves around certification. To achieve certification, you have to provide evidence that you're doing what you say you're doing to meet whatever requirements that the certifying body has. Because once you have certification, you have to maintain that certification over the course of time, because periodically auditors will come in unannounced and they want to make sure that you're doing what you're saying you're doing, and you can also provide evidence for them at the time that they appear. And if you don't, they will start issuing non-conformance reports, and they expect a resolution. And this looks like that this is part of that process. Like some wild example, because I'm not in that industry, but for example, like one of the basic things that we know is that they want to reduce carbon emissions with their technology. And for example, the auditing body could come in and say, do you have records of your instruments being calibrated to detect carbon emissions? And they want to see logs of that. Who did it? What date? Can you run that machine through something that produces something that's obviously toxic, and does that pick that up accurately? Can you run it through fresh air and it doesn't detect it? Can you run it through different intervals? And they expect to see documentation that that's being done. They'll also ask for standard operating procedures, whereas if you're doing things to scale, they want to make sure that everything is done by the book. And can you document that all that's being done? And is that stored somewhere in a system? And can you provide that documentation to the auditors when they appear? And they'll typically they show up unannounced. And if there's multiple certifications you're trying to achieve, you're going to have multiple visitors appearing randomly and checking on all these different various things and issuing non-conformance reports. And it's a bunch of additional paperwork, but the company has to provide evidence that, okay, well, we're doing X, Y, and Z to fix this deficiency. If they don't, certification will be lost. I know they have the discipline, based on what I've seen on other job postings, to do development, and they also have the discipline to hold back shipping the product due to additional testing. Moreover, from this bullet point, they also have the discipline to deal with certifications, dealing with audits, auditors coming in, issuing non-conformance reports of things that need to be fixed and addressed. And that is a very, very good sign. They want to play with the big boys. They want to produce vehicles at scale, and these auditors are going to come in and make sure that those I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and there's documentation that you're doing what you're saying you're doing. And of course, no one's perfect, so there's going to be non-conformance reports issued, and they need to remedy that and provide evidence that that's remedied. And if they're not able to, it's not like, oh, we got our certifications, we won, woohoo! No, it's like they're going to come in if they see that there's these problems issuing, they're creeping back up and nothing's being done about it. They can go in and pull certifications, and that would be a problem. Another thing is fielding customer complaints, and along the same lines of audits, there is a CAR, not something you drive, but a corrective action request. Whereas if you have a complaint from a customer, usually this is part of the auditing process. I don't know if it's specific to all this stuff, but if a customer has a complaint, do you have a system in place to handle that complaint? And can you provide evidence to auditors that these complaints are being addressed and issued and resolved or dealt with? And some of them can be resolved. Some of them, they'll probably be more difficult to resolve, but they'll ask, well, do you have that documented somewhere? Do you have that in the system? What time was it fixed? Who fixed it? Who signed off on that this was fixed? Did the customer sign off on it? All this additional overhead and paperwork that requires more people, and of course it increased the cost of doing it. But at the end of the day, would a customer want to buy a vehicle that doesn't meet standards, or do they want to buy a vehicle that meets those standards? You can have a state require that you need to purchase a vehicle that meets these standards from these accrediting bodies, and they're going to be looking for the company that provides that solution. So they want to put on their big boy pants, and that's a good sign. Just hang on to your horses, because it may be a bumpy ride in terms of the stock market price. Remember, it's not what you think you know. It's about your stomach and how well you can handle that ride. That's it for this video, and of course, thanks for watching.